Okay, here's where your soil test from Whitetail Institute or any lab comes into play. You notice this, I don't know if this will come out, but this is for pure attraction. It requires 60 pounds of nitrogen per acre and 100 pounds of potash. So we have, that'll save you. You're not out just throwing needless fertilizer on. Now, we got 100 pounds of potash there. It was really low. The phosphorus was great, but as you can see, this orange line right here was at the low. That's why you need the potash. There was the potassium. It was very good, very good. And then the other one with the nitrogen, which it doesn't really show on there, but I guess, but they want you to put at least 60 pounds of nitrogen on there. But potash was really, really, really low, and so it required 100 pounds of it. And that's the importance of getting a soil sample and the test, so you're not wasting money on fertilizer. It costs enough. Now, the planting this pure attraction down here, it's I've had good luck with it in the past, and I had several different late season brassicas, forage oats, kale. It's got a lot, something like a destination, real close, except for it doesn't have the radishes there. So we'll get the broadcasting that on. Now, we're going to disc this field up. We disked it up on the 22nd day of July. Today's the 3rd. So it's right at 12 days. And I'm going to show you the green growth in it. You can see that green flash. Now some of that could be clover, but that's what you want. You see that green coming up in there? Now we'll put the fertilizer on, then we're going to knock that out. We'll run there's a lot of it in there. That's what you let that natural seed bank germinate. You can see it better over here in the sun. This is about 12 days of growth right there. And so we're going to put 100 pounds of potash on this acre and right at 60 pounds of nitrogen. So let's get it on, and then we'll go get the disc and disc it up. And one thing about pure attraction, it's a big seed, so it goes down pretty easy. Just wound up and get it incorporated, get that fertilizer. But that is something real specific about your soil test. It lets you know exactly how many pounds for what you're planting, what you need. Yeah, I got a shade tree down here. It's an oak tree. It's got a little shade on it. You see it's wet. I don't know. I might have to disc this up. But you can also see the green. Now, if I disc it up and get the air to it, just sit here in the shade. And that's what's good for when it was the clover. That's what you want. But boy, it's right on. Well, we'll have to see how it discs up. If I have to, there's no rain in the forecast. Down in here, I wanted to show you that green flash. It really was predominant. Because it's down here in this corner down here. You can really see that green flash now. And that's what we're going to knock out with the disc. But that could be clover growing up in there. But yeah, it's not bad. It breaks up. So But you can definitely see those undesirable weeds that flashed up through there. And so it's really important to try to tear it up at least twice to get that residue worked in. And then when you come back, hit it one more time just to take out the new growth, because you only got one chance at doing these perennials, these annuals. And here's another in the shade area. And boy, there's still moisture, but it's breaking up pretty good. It's breaking up pretty good. So let's go get the disc and see how it works. On this disc, we don't want to go too deep. We just want to knock out the weeds, get the fertilizer down there a couple inches, and that'll be good enough. There's no need to go down and try to get more seed bank to come up. So we'll just lightly disc it, and like I say, that'll keep it. The flash that was on there, we want to knock it out. Been there for about 12 days, and that's so we got the disc straightened out, and then we're going to run the harrow over it, and then seed it, and then run the harrow back over it one more time. Well, we got the weeds knocked out and the fertilizer incorporated, but I got a lot of ridges in here, so I'm going to run the pulverizer over here because it's Humpty Dumpty, and I want to level it up more. So it does, if I got some low spots, I'll fill them in, and I don't want it to be holding water in areas. So I elected, instead of the harrow, I'm going to run this pulverizer over it to level it out somewhat. That area up in there, it's got a lot of waves to it, and it's been holding water in the past. So I want to get it for next spring so that it's not holding water up there, because it gets almost impassable. I hope you can see how much leveler that did. Those pulverizers are priceless, folks. If you can get one of those, it's a heck of a tillage tool. I've had that I bought that new in 1977, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful tillage tool for food plots. See how level that field's got. I'll take you for a ride on this pulverizer. I'll tell you what, they're a godsend. I see so much garbage on the YouTube, half-ass food plot preparation. Seed beds are horrible, and they expect the results. This item right here is priceless. too hard to try to run that because you got to keep your hand on the lever, hydraulic. But it really levels the field out beautiful. I mean, you see no residue, no big clods, nothing but pure Iowa black dirt. And if you're going to make a seed bed, do it right. I'm sick and tired of people saying, oh, you don't need to do that, you don't need to do this, you don't need to, hell, you don't even got to wipe your ass if you don't want to. That'll keep your social distancing. Of course, if you're hanging with that group of people, they probably all stink anyway. But anyhow, you've got to do the work. That's how this man wants to make America great again. That's what was great about America. It was American made because American men and women put their heart and soul into the work. They just didn't show up, draw a check, and go home. So that's my little rant for the day. Well, there's the results. Beautiful seed bed, weed free. Very little to no residue on top. Now all we got to do is crank the seed on. Well, here it is, pure traction. Early season, late season. Performance. Research equals results. Now, you see all the work I do to a food plot? Do you think I'm going to put some smiley face, look at me guru on there? Ain't happening. Ray Scott didn't make it and test it and spend the money to build it. I sure in the hell ain't putting it on my field. And as far as I'm concerned, the rest of them are just wannabes. And there's a whole world of that today. Let's get the cranking the seed on. Now we got 2 bags of that, because each bag will do a ½ acre. So be conservative until you get it on, and then if you got any left over, go back over it. Make sure you put it on conservative on the first. Now we'll do. We got that ½ acre basically done up through there, and we got a little bit left in the bag. Not much. Anyhow, what we're going to do, we're going to move up to the other end, go up through there, and then if we want to make sure we get the whole field covered, and then go back over with a little more, depends on how much we got left. We'll do this other half. Got 1 bag left, and that's how to put it on. This is basically 100 yards, the size of a football field. So that would be your 43,000 square feet in here, give or take a few. Some of it might be a little long, but I'd rather be a little long than a little short, because getting in and around them trees is hard to measure. But anyhow, let's get the other bag on. Nice thing about the forage oats, you can see them on that seed bed. And notice my track, it's not very deep. That's a firmed up seed bed. Now we got 1 step left to do, and that's to run the harrow over it. And we're only going to run it over 1 time. And to hopefully cover what seed we do, we want to do it real lightly. So we'll get the harrow hooked up and drag it around there. I got a drag harrow on, and it recommends just to go over it lightly 1 time and to cover up some of those oats. So we'll just take our time. Time is not an issue here. Seeds on, just take it slow. don't want to overlap the field. You can see the oats there, and they're over. So slow. Okay, you see the oats right here? One time. Right up there real smooth. Well, there you go. From the 22nd day of July to the 3rd day of August. And you notice we've got that seed drug the harrow over. We don't want to drag it over any deeper. So I hope you picked up something you could use. If not, that's, you know, I sure don't know it all. But we got it done. Some of you think that this is easy. I want to show you what happened about 2 hours ago when I was taking the disc out. Going down this really steep hill where I took a risk that I could get down it. Anyhow, that probably didn't cost me a couple $100. Right there is one of the disc blades. Whacked that tree. Oh boy, I'll tell you. Busted that disc off. And you ain't seen the axle on the disc yet. Anyway, I should have drove across the clover field. Things you do, just like this guy's name on the hat. Sometimes no matter what you do, your day turns to shit. But we did get the food plot planted, and you don't give up. But I'll show you the disc up at the top. Yeah, wide enough to get that through there, but it's just too steep and it swung over there. Well, like I said, that axle ain't going to be cheap. Plus the labor. This is a pretty steep hill right here. I should have never brought the disc down there. Hindsight 2020, you know. Just like Trump, he tries his best, but sometimes shit just happens. Yeah, there's what happened to the disc. It hit that tree, bent the axle. Oh well, shit happens. That'll cost money. Sort of like the coronavirus just hit the farm. Oh well. If you sit on your ass, nothing happens. If you do something, then shit like that can happen too. Okay, it's 6:30. We're out here in the beans with forage oats. Here's all you have to do. Take that hoe and go down there. That ground was pretty tight. I loosened some of it up last night. Don't take long. This man and this man were from an entire different generation of what the punks are out there today, wanting somebody's labor for free and somebody else's money. Work for it! I've been doing this since I was this tall for the neighbor lady who'd pay me $1 to pull the weeds out of her garden. And that dollar meant a lot back then. But so many people now are so lazy, they're tattooed, they got the rings in their nose and they think they're bad. Well, follow me for a day. You want to see what bad is? I'll show you what bad is, and I'm 70. Ain't no son of a bitch across my path that I back up from. Oh, running that hole, it gets that ground. So I'll show you right here. That ground was rock hard. I'll get it down here a little lower. And you can see we're busting that top up. And I sharpened this hoe up so it's real sharp, and it'll do that. But I was afraid to plant on that hard pan because those oats could just wash right off. But at least we get it scuffed up a little bit. This ain't for the faint-hearted. And does it mean I'm going to kill a deer? No. It just means that I'm trying to do something right. My grandma Mealey is with me in spirit, and she'd hoe with one of these all day long. So let's get cranking more seed on. Okay, we'll go down there and rake that in real quick. Used to have an old friend called Kenny Hartzer, bless his heart. He's gone from this earth, but I'm sure he's in heaven. But I used to ask him how he did so much work in a day. And he told me, Mealey, an inch is a cinch, I can do a mile with a smile. Let's get to raking. Don't take long, just gotta have the willpower. We'll start holing up through there. Don't take long to do this. There's the road we just went up. So we scuffed that up, and the seed's in there. And here's the rows that haven't been hoed yet. Well, there it goes, right at 9 o'clock. We got that half acre sowed, raked, and whatever. And we'll just have to monitor it and see how it comes along. Once again, the so-called expert weather people, that's why I have a hard time with this coronavirus. It's supposed to be raining right now at 9 o'clock. Ain't gonna rain. Those are supposed to be college-educated people that get paid good money. I hope they don't get paid good money. I hope they just donate their time. Because they're so wrong so much of the time. And with the social media and stuff, when you go on there, this stuff is not even true. You know, and they just come up with their own configuration of the truth. Like I say, it's supposed to have been raining right now, but that's good because I got all this done, and it's supposed to start getting hot and humid again, and this was the perfect morning to get this done. So that's it from overseeding in between the rolls. Now we'll just have to keep monitoring it and see what we get for labor. There you go. That's on my tablet. A lot of rain coming. That's why you've got to move when you got to move.